concentrated along the lakeshore, and that's where the strongest gusts will be, up to around 55 miles per hour there. Inland, though, still 35 to even 45-mile-per-hour wind gusts. You can see that developing this afternoon and rather consistent all throughout the day. You remember last week when we had some pretty windy conditions. This is a very similar setup, but stronger along the lakeshore. It all ends by the time we hit Friday morning, and then we're tracking our next system inbound. This clears out of here. We actually will have some late day sunshine, partly cloudy conditions with those strong winds whipping in a drier air mass. Short-lived dry air mass though, right? Because your Friday will be dry, and then our next system rolls in early Saturday afternoon through Saturday evening. 13 weather impact alert issued for this. This is going to be widespread system snow with the heaviest snow north of 96, likely on the order of 3 to 6 inches, potentially some isolated higher amounts. I really want to get this system cleared out of the models, kind of get the junk out in front of this system, but this system behind it, Saturday into Sunday morning, does not look to be pretty. And anytime we get widespread system snow, this is not lake effect snow, 6 inches. That's going to take a little bit for road crews to get out there and clean up. Good news is that it ends Saturday night and into Sunday morning. So if you want to do a little bit of sledding, build a snowman, Sunday afternoon is going to be a great day for that. Lakeshore boundary today, temperatures are going to, so what we're seeing this morning, Emily and Tanner, one is our radar is not picking up on very much, but two, we know that ground reports are reflecting something different. And that kind of puts us in a sticky situation. So you need to make sure, even if you're checking your radar app and you're going, oh, I'm good and clear, that's not necessarily the case. We have seen ice falling south of 96 fairly consistently down through the 94 corridor, and we have seen a combination of conditions to the north, sleet, snow, and freezing rain. We noticed on the weather chaser there how we were starting to see some of those particles accumulate. That's not going to be good. If it's falling down as rainfall, our temperature is below freezing. It is going to freeze upon contact with surface. Now you can see we've got the combo of both sleet, freezing rain, and snow coating our camera here in Grand Rapids. Walker looking very similar. As for Muskegon, a little bit of a different shot. They've had predominantly snowfall. Great news for those of you in Muskegon. Your morning commute is going to be much better. We've got our winter weather advisory until 9 o'clock this morning. So really it is only going to be your morning commute that's going to be impacted by these icy conditions. And then we flip the script over to a much windier story as we head into the afternoon. Stasia. Well, while today's system will clear out of here and we have short-lived dry conditions for Friday, this is what's inbound as we head into your Saturday. Our next snowstorm. This is expected to bring a widespread 3 to 6 inches. Timing things out for you coming up. Coast, what a mess they're going to be walking out the door to there. They've got a combination of sleet and ice coming down, potentially over a ½ inch. Portions of Cleveland yesterday got hit really hard with icy conditions. Thankfully, we are just on the outskirts of this, but yes, you'll want to have maybe 10 to 20 extra minutes to get to your location this morning. Behind it, driving in some stronger winds as that boundary passes through, but temperature-wise, before that cold front does arrive, we do make our way back into the mid to upper 30s. This is going to help us out to thaw things out that have come down this morning, but again, now through 9 a.m., dicey road conditions. This afternoon will be much smoother in terms of wintry precip, just windy outside. Clears the area. We're dry for your Friday. Then we brace for our next round of weather impact alerts. This comes in the form of widespread system snow north of 96. I think it's a pretty safe bet to say that you will be at around 3 to 6 inches of snowfall coming down. South of 96, I still have some uncertainty. The placement of the heaviest of freezing precip does look to drive to the south of us. Models are kind of giving this little gap in terms of where the precip will occur. This is a good estimation, though, again, in that 3 to 6 inch range of how we're going to see this snowfall play out. It's not perfect. These are not your exact totals by any means, but it does give a good picture of what to expect. Saturday afternoon, 2 to 3 o'clock, continuing on until around 9 a.m. Sunday morning. Lakeshore about midnight last night and through this morning. Now, we're actually at the tail end of this system, so kind of what you see is what you get outside. It's still lightly precipitating in some spots, but not nearly coming down as consistently as it was during the overnight period. 24 degrees. This is kind of the combo pack of conditions, right, that we're experiencing, and this is most likely what the windshield of your car is going to look like as you walk out the door. So give yourself some defrost time. The good news for those those of you in Muskegon County is that you've seen predominantly snowfall, which is awesome. Much easier to drive in snowy conditions than it is that ice. Certainly came to fruition during the overnight hours. A little bit of a different story for Muskegon, where we're taking a live look right now, where they actually had predominantly snowfall. This is going to create much smoother driving than those 96 corridor into the south, where we do have our winter weather advisories. Those remain in effect until 9 o'clock this morning, as of course we see the lingering impacts of the ice. Now the good news is that we are pretty much at the tail end of this system, so I don't expect any additional impacts on top of what's already. Our temperatures reach their peak daytime heating value. Those winds crank up out of the west, and I actually expect some sunshine to filter in throughout the back half of the afternoon. A little bit of light snowfall still coming down up along US 10, possibly some light misty conditions to the south. Fortunately, our radar has not been picking up on any of this system, and when that happens, it makes it a little challenging to know when it's come to a close. But what we do know is that there was consistent freezing rain, sleet, and snow coming down all throughout the overnight hours, and you need to give yourself extra time on your morning commute. This system clears out of here this morning. We are underneath again, clearing skies in the afternoon. A dry Friday, and then yes, another system inbound headed into your Saturday. This time around, it looks to be a fairly decent snowmaker. I will say there is some discrepancy in models in terms of how far south this freezing rain line sets up, and there's the chance for us to experience some mixing, likely closer to the 94 corridor, but a vast majority of us are going to be underneath that widespread wet heavy system snow before it clears out of here early Sunday morning. This is not a perfect picture of what our snowfall totals will be by any means. These numbers are going to change, but it gives you a really good idea, that 3 to 6 inch range, possibly some localized higher amounts.
We're able to get Pixie calmed down just enough to figure out.
Yeah, there was a rage there before that. By the way, Pixie doesn't look a day over 6.
No, not at
And I'm
all.
sure Pixie loves Dad too.
100%.
Mom got the
Mom
shout
just
out,
gets the
but
love.
We all get it, though. We all love mom and treats.
Yeah.
It just makes sense. Me too.